While a leading voice in the religious community is tonight reacting to Kenton's senseless killing, yet another young life lost, his potential never to be fulfilled. The clergyman insists the time to act and stem the tide of surging crime is now. Cleopatra Murphy has that story.
President of the Bahamas Christian Council, Bishop Delton Fernander, is calling for urgent action to address the country's troubling murder rate, and this particularly following Tuesday night's slaying of 4-year-old Kenton Seymour Jr. The shock of it all is tugging at the heartstrings of many, including Fernander.
We are very concerned with the state of crime and murders in our country and the senseless taking of lives, and in this case, the vulnerable, a 4-year-old innocent child. And as a church, it hurts our heart that as a nation we become so callous in taking out the lives not only of each other but of young people who haven't even begun to begin their lives. I've been saying that I think it's time for us to be on track for the highest level of crime and murders that we've ever had. We need a national focus and a national campaign.
Just midway into 2022, and the country has already seen 81 homicides, putting it on pace to exceed the 119 recorded last year. So far, the 146 recorded in 2015 is the highest on record. The former law enforcement officer says with one of the highest rates in the region per capita, the situation must be taken seriously.
I'm calling on a campaign like we did for AIDS and like we did for teenage pregnancy and all the other things, and that we need it because if we don't have a national focus, a lot of good work was going on in isolation. But now we need it to be under one umbrella, maybe a secretariat, or maybe a czar, maybe under the Crime Council. But something has to be done, and the church, we stand ready to support and work together.
Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis, in assessing the problem, admits it is getting worse, adding, though, that the solution is not just stiffer penalties, a sentiment with which the Christian leader agrees.
Crime needs to have that the response to crime is a strong reaction in terms of penalty, but also a community effort to let the criminals know that there's no place they can hide in our community, and our community will not tolerate it. Until we wake up as a society and realize it's not a police problem, it's not a government problem, it's a national problem, we continue to point fingers.
For the young perpetrators behind the senseless killing, Fernander says there are better ways to resolve disputes.
We need to realize that as young people with access to high-powered firearms, that when you take a life of another black youth, another black Bahamian, another Bahamian on the whole, you're also challenging a community in which that person lived in, and so there becomes a retaliation. Let's put down the guns. Let's come together as a nation and figure out how we can solve our problems collectively.
To 4-year-old Kenton's grieving parents, Fernander says he knows they are hurting, and the church will continue to pray for the family, trusting that he is now in God's hands. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.